All right, folks. Thank you so much, for tuning in today, taking time, whether it's in your morning, lunch hour, or in the evening if you're in the Middle East. We're so excited to have you here and listening to four exceptional founders from our network pitching to a panel of four great investors. Um, if anyone is tuning in that doesn't know much about Viaka, basically what we're building here is the destination for MENA's global startup community to build and invest. Over the past year and a half or so, we've built this hybrid space for founders, investors, employees, and experts across the globe, but that have some type of personal or professional connection to the MENA region. Today, we do this along three main pillars or dimensions. So we've built this community for really top-notch founders, investors, experts, operators, and that talent is on full display over the next couple hours. We also create digital content, including demo days like this one, where we get to highlight the expertise in our community and of our members. And then lastly, we have a services arm where we bring together freelancers and fractional executives to work with founders and investors that are members of our community and beyond. So throughout the event today, I'm gonna, just drop some links for folks to apply and join if they're not already members. We'd love to have you. Today, we're getting close to 650 members, and we have premium and basic membership packages. And we're, as I mentioned, just really global. I think actually at the same time as this event, a dinner is happening across the world in Riyadh at the LEAP conference of members who are attending that as well. So it's a vibrant community and love to have all of you. Today's event specifically would not be possible without Abe and his colleague Patrick from Taft Law. Abe, do you want to take a couple moments to introduce yourself and Taft and what you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for letting us sponsor this. I'm always happy to be a supporter of your network and all of the work that you're doing. But Taft, we're a global law firm. We got about 800 attorneys all across the world. My particular focus is working with early growth stage companies and venture funds. The beautiful thing about being in Chicago is that there's a lot of food tech, food, and food adjacent stuff, and have the pleasure of working alongside or with a lot of the judges today. So happy to kind of see everything come together.
Awesome. Yeah, we're so happy to have you as a partner, Abe. And just have to shout out that every time I've introduced Abe and Taft to somebody, whoever I introduce them to comes back raving about just the conversation that they had and the work that they get to do together. So really honored to have you guys involved.
Yeah, happy to be a resource to the network.
We also have a panel of four awesome judges today. I'm going to run through them quickly. Amira Khatib from Bluestein Ventures. They invest in the future of food. I believe also Chicago based. Um, Hylton Irons from Listen Ventures. He invests in consumer obsessed entrepreneurs building at the tipping point of behavior shifts. Kalefe Wright from Touchdown Ventures. He invests with Agthia Ventures through Touchdown. Touchdown is a corporate venture kind of consulting company. And Agthia itself is funded by the UAE-based Agthia and its parent company, ADQ. So the fund invests in better for you foods and beverage brands, value chain technology, and ingredient technology across the world. And finally, our last investor is Natalia Ferris. Natalia worked previously at Thrasio and Kite, investing in e-commerce and health and wellness businesses. So we're super psyched to have such a talented and insightful panel of investors to offer feedback to our startups. The four founders that you're going to hear from today are also, of course, building really cool brands. Starting with Alexander from Zesty Z. He's going to pitch first. Yasameen Sajady from Maazah is gonna go second. Ranya and Tarik from Sibz are going third, and closing us out will be Yassin Sibai from Afia Foods. I like to keep the intro super brief, so we're gonna, dive in very quickly with Alexander. Just a note on format here. Each pitch is gonna be about 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll give the jury, the investors, another 7 to 10 minutes for questions and feedback. If you're in the audience and you have questions for founders, feel free to drop them in the chat. And then, time permitting, we'll either get to them during the question and feedback section of the pitch, or the founder can come in afterwards and see if there are any audience questions to answer. And the event is being recorded, so I'll also, after this, upload the pitches to YouTube and send it out to all the attendees. So yeah, with that, Alexander, let me turn it over to you. I will pin your video, and we will get started.
Awesome, thank you. I wanted to share just a deck, so let me. Am I supposed to do that?
Yeah, you can. You should be able to share your screen.
So it's saying, oh, I have a different one that I made. It says host disabled, a participant screen sharing. Let's see.
All right. What about
now? More share screen. Yeah, let's see. Give me a sec. I guess we'll do this. Let's see. Did that work?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Let me just boom. All right. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for making time. I'm Alexander from Zesty Z. I'll say hello, hello, marhaba, yo, yo. Let's get started. We're here to talk about our lower carb pita chips. Our pita chips are high fiber, low carb, and made from twice baked real pita chips. There are three important things I'd like you to focus on as we weave through this conversation. The three things are: one, retail ready. This product has high margins in excess of 40% at launch. We're shelf stable for over 12 months, and it's an 8-pack case that has a punch out display. This is important because as much as D2C is awesome, CPG and snacks in general, it's still a retail game. The second thing to pay attention to: I'm a second-time founder at my own company. Yes, I've been in the CPG game for a little while. I co-founded this with my mom. You'll see Lorraine's lovely face in just a moment, but there are a lot of black eyes and a lot of experiences, both positive and constructive, that I bring with me and why we made this pita chip pivot. And lastly is the category dynamics. When I get into the reasons of why we made this, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more what we uncovered when we examined the category and why we think there's a significant opportunity to be the number 2 player or the healthy alternative to Frito-Lay's Stacy's Pita Chips. So, Alexander, why did you make these pita chips and why did you pivot from your other products? We had previously sold za'atar at a high level in Costco and Whole Foods nationwide. We also made a globally inspired popcorn line with flavors like honey and feta cheese and etc. And 2 years ago, we were in a meeting with some pretty big retailers and distributors and presenting our product. And in those meetings, they looked at me and they said, okay, yeah, this is great, but can you help us with something? I said, sure, what's up? They said, you're Lebanese, right? I said, yes. And they said, you know pita chips, you're familiar with it, or pita? I said, yeah, what's up? And they said, can you make us a new or innovative pita chip? Because we don't carry Stacy's, or we don't want to carry Stacy's anymore. I said, why? They're like, one, they dominate the market. Two, it's DSD distribution, meaning it's vertically integrated. So it cuts out the middleman, other distributors. So other distributors we're not able to sell the top-selling pita chip and losing revenue. And retailers don't want to carry Stacy's pita chips because Frito-Lay's actually bundles these products. And what I mean is, the problem they were facing is that if you want Stacy's pita chips, which is a popular, healthy, great product, you also have to carry Cheetos and Doritos because they're all owned by Frito-Lay's. So this left thousands of retailers and hundreds of distributors without a pita chip or unwilling to continue to carry this pita chip. And this was a really powerful message of listening to your customer. So we began to dig into the category. That's the problem. Here's the solution. Versus leading brands, we have 25% fewer net carbs, less fat, 6 grams of fiber, and made from twice-baked fresh pita bread. And you can see on the pita chips that there are grill marks, there's double-layered chips, and there's even the curved edges of the chips. This is all to signify the quality of our product, not just the quantitative benefits and the better-for-you aspects. We make pita chips in the traditional way where pita bread is actually made, then it's cut and seasoned. It's not fried and it's not made like a cracker. We launched 2 weeks ago. I know it's 2 weeks is not a long time, but we've already gotten some buzz. BevNet and Naj have really focused on us shaking up the industry a bit and taking on Stacy's in this opportunity. There are 2 fantastic articles that we can pass around later that talk about this. My most favorite one is last week's, which is the Taste Radio episode of when and why new is the better than the original. And we were pleased to be in that company. Oh. There's Mom. She's my co-founder. And pita is personal. We're son and mom founders and minority certified. And we created these products based on our Lebanese culture. I grew up eating pita bread all the time, whether it was school lunches or going with my dad to the bakery on the weekends. Prior to the pita chips, we sold products from 2018 to 2022. And that's what I mentioned earlier, our za'atar and our popcorn. So I've learned a lot. I know how to work with distributors. I've suffered some black eyes, had some wins and plenty of losses. And all of that has informed me on the decision that this pita pivot was the right move. To de-risk this launch, prior to the production 2 weeks ago, we have pre-sold 46% of our first production run. That's a significant portion based on sending R&D samples and sell sheets. We've also gone ahead and hired leading brokers on the East Coast to represent us, and they've begun reaching out and submitting for reviews already. Lower carb and fiber is high growth. What I mean by that is that we see significant brands either selling and exiting the business or raising funds or just gaining significant traction with customers. From brands like Goodles to Olipop to Catalina Crunch or Better Brand. We see that fiber and lower carbs is trending well with consumers and those behaviors. And research suggests that that is only going to increase between now and 2029. So when our customers asked us, hey, what's going on? Can you make us a pita chip? I decided before I did anything to look into the category. And what I found astonished me. I've never seen a category that's dominated this much by one player. It's obvious based on Spin's data as of last year, and Spin's doesn't capture the whole market, that Stacy's owns 82% of this category. I mean, that's unbelievable. And the next closest brand is New York Style at 18 million. What was so interesting to us and appealing to us about making this pivot is that very rarely does a brand have a path to be the number 2 in a category, especially high velocity salty snack category, and the leading alternative to big CPG. This gives us a favorable position to be the leading and healthy alternative to Stacy's and for options down the line when we think about exit strategy or continuing to run this as a profitable company because our margins are high. These are the top brands in the Spins category. I won't read you through all of them, but you can see we are the best in class compared to all of them. We know how to get attention. And some of you have seen some of our videos on TikTok or Instagram. We do two things well. We lean into the culture, talking about coming from an immigrant family and some of those shared experiences. One of our favorite videos got over 8 million views, talking about asking your mom for hamburgers, and instead you're getting kafta, which is onion and parsley chopped up. And we had 13 million organic impressions on social media last year and over 36 viral videos. So now that we've launched, we're pushing our content out there and communicating to those who love pita chips. There's me and mom, but we're supported by a fantastic team around us and advisors broken up in different categories based on sales, operations, finance, and strategy. So to conclude, why should you chip in? It's a personal connection to pita, and we're motivated to make moves. We're retail ready, our margins are strong, and we've got traction already in the market. The category dynamics are favorable for us, and consumers are looking towards lower carb and high fiber more than ever. Plus, as I've mentioned more than once, I've got my black eyes doing this thing, and I'm a second-time founder in my own company. So we're going to use that knowledge to help us succeed. Thank you so much for your time. Shukran, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Alexander. All right. For our investors, feel free to chip in whenever. I'm going to just add you guys, pin you to the screen so that everyone can see the discussion. But the floor is yours.
Happy to kick off. Alexander, thanks for walking us through that.
Thanks.
Really love the kind of distributor relationship that you have and understanding kind of that gap that they're having and serving them there. I'm curious, as you think about the Zesty Z brand, which has already existed and consumers are familiar with, how do you think about sort of connecting that audience to the new pita chip product? Like when they see Zesty Z as a consumer, what do they think? What are the top things that they think about first that'll kind of drive them to the new product?
I think we've done a good job over the years, despite having other products. We've always had products that are Mediterranean focused, better for you, built around the Mediterranean diet, vibrant, fun, exciting, kind of like a crazy Mediterranean type family or a big family. We're the party hosts. So I think those elements come through in brand and product, and hopefully they'll love the product just as much as they've loved the previous ones. And fortunately, being in the industry, I'd like to say that we do have a positive reputation with distributors, retailers, investors, and with consumers. So it's something my mom and I and the team have worked hard on.
Thanks.
Alexander, thank you so much. Such a great pitch. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Couple questions on the retail distribution.
Sure.
Is the initial approach to sort of go after those retailers that don't carry Stacy's and are looking for alternatives, or have you started to gauge interest from more of the mainstream retailers?
So we're going to hit everybody across the board to start. Part of that process, we think about the distribution breakup more staying in our home area and region first, and then expanding out to more natural and select conventional chains. I think more than ever, people are going to conventional or mass earlier if it's the right fit. For us, to answer your question specifically on that, about half of the stores that we've initially gotten into don't carry Stacy's, and it's been a really easy sell, especially with our distributor partners. We're the only pita chip they carry, and they were motivated and worked with us from the beginning on this. So they're out there selling it. The other part is we are doing some A/B tests within the deli set as well, not just in the healthy snacks, with some retailers where we're going to be going up directly against Frito-Lay, and I'm pretty excited about it. I know mom's on the call listening in. She thinks I'm a little crazy for going after that, but it's an important data point to see on pricing and product what's going to happen. And I can tell you that in the deli set, Stacy's sells around $4.99, will be at $5.49. And we have some better for you call outs, brighter packaging, and we'll see what the market dictates in those stores. And if it works, we will use that data to leverage opportunities in other retailers if the traditional snack set is not available to us.
Amazing. And for the commitment you do have, is it for both SKUs?
Correct. Yes, it is. And yes, there are more flavors coming in case any of the folks on the call were asking us that. We wanted to start with 2 to manage our working capital, to test the market and to be a little bit responsible and gauge what customers at all levels would be interested, whether it's spicy, sweet, cheesy, or something else.
Yeah, Alex, thanks for the pitch. Really interesting here.
Thank you.
I'm curious on the competitive dynamics with
Sure.
it being so top heavy, skewed towards Stacy's.
Sure.
You know, what have the next 2 competitors, what's their growth trajectory been like over the last, few years, if you have access to that information, and why do you think it has remained so top heavy, and I guess how are you planning to gain penetration dealing with Frito-Lay's
Sure.
DSD
Sure.
prowess?
The first part of your question, I know that the category as a whole has grown 5 to 7% according to the SPINS data that we have from last year that we looked at. As far as the growth of the brands specifically, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I can certainly follow up. But what I can tell you is that brands 2 through 10 combined only for 50 million last year. Now, what are what's Stacy doing right versus what the other brands, maybe are doing wrong? I think it's a case of big CPG came in with a great idea. They bought Stacy's about 17 years ago and have been really running with it. And, it was the first mover advantage. And other brands out there, to be honest, have been a little lazy or tired, just making, the same old product that's out there and just playing around the periphery. It was surprising to us to see, with all the innovation in baked goods and cereals and grains to lower fiber and other types of innovation, that no one has really taken a stab at it. And I think it's because the top 3 brands, or the top 2 brands at least, New York Style is owned by a large food group. Maybe they're not looking at this information, and people are just content. So, we decided to shake things up, and I think our competitive advantage is leaning into the lower carbon, high fiber trends that you see consumers and successful brands from Goodles to Olipop and others, really leaning in on. And I think with a great brand story, awesome product, and good packaging, we'll be able to shake that up, especially because we're solving a problem too for retailers and distributors. So I think that's what also gets us on the shelf.
Thanks so much for the presentation. My question is, how do you think about some of the challenges to surmount? Obviously, you've had so many years of experience in the CPG industry, built relationships, and kind of seen the valleys and the peaks, but curious how you think about new challenges to surmount in the snack aisle versus the other categories that you've played in with the Zesty C legacy products.
In terms of, did you have something specific, like an example, maybe?
I'm just curious, like, what you think you've learned and surmised from being in the space that you can apply to being now in the snack aisle, and what do you think are kind of some new challenges that you're going to have to figure out and navigate? So
I can tell you what I've learned, and we've already applied them. I made this thing an 8-pack case faster than I could think of. So I think understanding your working capital, your burn, and your margins are the things that I learned the most. Everyone, I guess in a prior life, people say, oh yeah, margins, in the 30s are fine. I don't agree with that. And I learned the hard way that, that's why we're pushing 40 to 50% margins for ourselves. So case pack margins, unit economics, I think those are the initial lessons that I learned. I think what's going to be a challenge, and where the things I'm going to have to learn and ask our advisors for help, is we're really going after a category that has one major player. It's a monopoly, and it's a big one. And so how to navigate that, how to adjust for pricing, promotions, just things like that, going up against one player versus going up in a category like popcorn in the past, or other categories where there's dozens of others. I think that's going to be the big challenge for us. Cool.
Since we have a little bit more time, one question that came in the chat,
Sure.
which I think the judges can speak to as well. How does the product taste in comparison
Yeah.
to Stacy's?
I'll let the judges answer that.
So yeah, I mean, it's tasty for sure. I mean, I was curious how you got to, I guess, to how did you arrive at, sort of the fiber was so important, and then two, is there anything in your formulation that you're doing uniquely that might be hard to copy to achieve the kind of carb to fiber ratio that you have? Like I tasted it, if I tasted it blindly, I wouldn't have guessed that, it had a higher fiber content or there was whole grain versus a more refined grain type product.
Thank you. We worked with a French master baker, and we reviewed several co-packers, zooming in on ones that actually made pita, and worked with them and using some special ingredients, that we had to source as well. Doing it that way, taking someone else's pita chip or working with someone else's formulation also helped lower our cost to keep our margins higher because we're not reinventing the wheel. And I think that's a lesson I learned from some of our past products. And I'm so glad you loved them and you didn't notice it. So if you blind taste tested it, you wouldn't have known. So I guess to Carol on the chat, hopefully that answered your question, but I'll let any other judges offer any feedback as well on how the product tasted.
I can jump in. I think you sent me samples, and I don't know how, maybe this is just me misremembering, but I feel like the early samples you sent me a while ago, I think these tasted much better. And I feel like to the point of like the taste test, blind taste tests, I think I would have been fooled or not known the difference. I think in earlier iterations, it was like less one-to-one of a replacement. And so I think whatever you've done in the time, I was impressed by. I don't know I can't quite remember what changed, but yeah, just wanted to highlight the progress that you made too, and think that where you've gotten today, the product is really solid.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. I will shout out Carol as well. I think she's a great person, active in the food and bev space. She was at a group here in Boston called Branch Food. So good person for everyone interested in the space to connect with.
Cool.
All right, I think, Alexander, that wraps up our time for Zesty Z. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Great to have you, and looking forward to seeing big things from you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, you're up next. So I will pin your video, and yeah, feel free to get started.
Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Yasameen Sajady. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Maazah. We make a line of sauces and dips that brings magic to every bite. Why settle for boring, bland, and uninspired when you can eat like this? Maazah adds a flavor burst that transforms any meal into something one of a kind. Our story began when my parents arrived here from Afghanistan. I'm one of 55 cousins, so we have a really big family. We get together almost every single weekend. We don't do small dinner parties of 10. It's everyone or nothing, so that's a lot of people to cook for. We always fight about which aunt makes the best rice, the best kormas, so we spent a lot of time in the kitchen and a lot of time at the dinner table. At that table, the star of every meal was our mom's cilantro and ginger chutney. Realizing we couldn't keep this magical sauce to ourselves, my sister and I co-founded Maazah, meaning flavor in Farsi. Our 4 SKU lineup includes a fresh cilantro and ginger chutney, a hot SKU with added serrano peppers for a bit of heat, a sweet mango cardamom chutney, and a vibrant lemon aioli. Then that aioli is a vegan aioli and people go nuts over it. The great thing about our mom's magic green sauce is it's versatile and it's easy to use. Made with all fresh ingredients you can use at breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Beyond the perfect companion for different rice dishes, you can add it to a fish taco or anything off the grill. Our newest innovation will be launching with Whole Foods later in 2024. This is a twist on our mom's dal recipe, similar to a hummus, but made with red lentils instead of chickpeas. Lentils are higher in protein, lower in fat than the chickpea, and we're incorporating the fresh, vibrant flavors of Maazah. This line of lentil dips will feature a lemon tahini, a turmeric ginger, a basil jalapeno, and a roasted red pepper. We started in my sister's kitchen by making 25 tiny jars at a time and selling at our local farmers markets in Minneapolis. We introduced more people to chutney and how to use it, and we soon discovered a growing community of saucy super fans that kept coming back for more. In January 2020, I was in the last semester of my MBA and used Maazah as the case study and thought, you know what, this chutney thing could actually work. So I quit my job to focus on the business full time. By the end of the year, we were featured in the New York Times. From there, things took off faster than we ever could have imagined. We knew we were onto something big and and had to learn quickly. So we did different accelerator programs and asked for help wherever we could. Then lightning struck twice. Maazah was selected from over 1,000 brands to join the Kroger Fresh and Local program. This was our opportunity to learn from the largest grocer in America. Kroger was searching for the best, most innovative products in America, and we maximized this opportunity by learning how to get our products on the shelf and off the shelf. And sorry, it's taking a little while to load. Did it switch? Yes, okay. In a recent research project we did with General Mills, we learned consumers are more frequently shopping the refrigerated sections. They're looking for clean label and fresh ingredients. With people cooking at home more often, they want to mix it up with new flavors that are convenient and easy to use. Consumers are connecting with Maazah because our brand story is real and unique. And the most important driver of purchase in refrigerated condiments is taste and flavor. And luckily for us, that's what we do well. Millennials don't have spice racks. We have condiment shelves. Dips and sauces are an easy, low-risk way for consumers to expand their palate. And America loves condiments. It's a $29 billion industry. Refrigerated sauces and dips is one of the hottest areas of the store with 91% growth. 2023 was our debut at Expo West, and this was a huge moment for the brand. We won the Expo West pitch competition, gained a lot of recognition, and major outlets featured us front and center, declaring global food as the next trend. And the market keeps proving this out. We've seen this with major exits from Cholula's, Rao's, and positioning Maazah to be next. And I don't have to tell this group any of this, but the market is ready. 75% of consumers want to explore Middle Eastern cuisine. Middle Eastern dishes are trending on US restaurant menus. The global food category in grocery is on track to reach 15 trillion by the end of 2030. I think we've all walked down the store shelves and seen this. I think our vision is to boldly rediscover, reimagine all of this stuff here. It is a little bit dated, a little bit dusty. I think we can kind of glow up this section of the store. This is stuff like my parents buy and I buy, but I don't totally identify. It's delicious, but it's not cute. So we have an opportunity here. Maazah in the spotlight, this is already happening. The ongoing media buzz has propelled us into the spotlight alongside my sister and co-founder Sheila and our mom. We're proudly leading the way in the industry and sharing our story and creating meaningful impact in the world of food. Sauces and dips are just the beginning. Maazah is a platform to share our vibrant flavors with America, expanding into sides and entrees to satisfy appetites of our customers and retail partners. Leveraging what we learned from Kroger, we've set the stage to maximize our opportunity to grow with major channel partners. In January, we launched in over 275 Target stores with Whole Foods and Costco next. Our goal is to become a category leader with a balanced velocity. We will balance velocity, ACV, and innovation by working with our key partners to prove out our hero products and not just open doors. With our planned distribution in 2024, we'll be approaching 1.8 million by the end of the year. In addition to our exciting retail expansion, we'll have solid margins as we continue to grow. Today, we sit around 40%, and as we grow our gain distribution, these product margins will also grow. This will allow us to execute a robust trade spend with promotional plans that'll drive in-store awareness, product trial, and repeat purchase. We're looking for $100,000 to close our pre-seed round. This raise will get us through the end of Q1 of 2024. These funds will include marketing and positioning work to create a strong foundation for our national sales push. We'll also enhance our operations team as Maazah enters new retail channels by hiring supply chain logistic experts. This investment is crucial for establishing our brand presence with our major retail partners. Whole Foods and Target and Costco has been on our list, and we can't believe all three are hitting this year. So we are ready for it. The focus on 2024 is operational excellence and effective marketing. Maazah's market position will attract customer attention and continue to keep our retailers happy. And we're not doing this alone. We're backed by a team of A-list experts from sales, finance, and operations. Our success is not just for us. Maazah is a family-owned business of Afghan women. We see a bright future for Maazah and chose Malala Fund as our partner to make sure the future is bright for other young girls and women just like us. We believe we can make a difference well beyond the dinner table. Join Maazah, and together we'll bring magic to every bite.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yasameen. Lovely pitch. Let's run it back with the investors. I'll start to pin your videos, but feel free to start asking questions.
Yeah, Yasameen, yeah, great pitch. I tried the mango chutney earlier this morning. I mean, it's pretty fire. That's gonna be a problem for me in a good way. I'm curious, so for your product specifically, can you tell us a little bit about use cases, or I guess usage occasions for the product? You know, where are people using it most frequently, and then how are you educating consumers on maybe how to use it if they're not familiar with the best ways to include it in their eating occasions?
Excuse me. Yeah, we tell people however you eat at home, this just elevates whatever you're doing. So use it as like a salsa or a hot sauce. I think we assumed everyone would use it at dinner time, right? Like you're tired after a long day, you don't totally want to take the time to like mince garlic and herbs and like get your chicken going or whatever, right? What we're seeing is people are using it at dinner, at lunchtime, on like a grain bowl or a salad, right? With people working at home, they're kind of eating a lot of the same stuff and they just like want to add fresh flavor or want to have these like bold flavors in their kitchen. So we sit in your refrigerator right next to like the kimchi that you're going to add to your grain bowl or the sriracha that you're going to add to your eggs, right? My favorite use cases are an egg sandwich in the morning, fish tacos, anything off the grill. What we've done to educate our consumer is we've started with the retailer and trying to see what strong connections they have instead of creating like our own, like early on, it's really hard to create your own communication channel in new markets that you haven't been in. So when we were learning with Croker, we were in the Chicago market and in Texas market. We're based in Minneapolis. We have a little bit of a following in Chicago, but nothing in Texas. So we worked with their cheesemongers in the Murray's cheese section to come up with a demo program for their mongers to learn about the chutneys, learn about different cheese pairings, and learn about that opportunity to put chutney on a charcuterie board, or kind of build that perfect moment and that perfect bite. Other programs that we've done, we are working with Target demo teams and their private label brand. They do different rices and frozen vegetables. We're doing a veggie rice bowl with the Target demo program. I think.
Yes, honey.
Yeah. Me? No. I think that's been our greatest opportunities to lean into where the retailer has the most effective communication with the customer. And then from there, we've talked about different ways that we can showcase the product on our social channels and kind of bringing people in there too.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just thinking of if there are a few hero occasions, or what you've heard from customers on the most interesting use cases that are using XYZ product.
Yeah, I think the top is fish tacos, and when you say this is great on leftovers, people's eyes light up and they're like, oh yeah, I hate eating my leftovers. They're always better after, adding a hot sauce or adding a chutney to it. I think those would be the best. But early on we thought for sure this is gonna solve everyone's what are we gonna eat for dinner problem. But what we're seeing is use case at breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
All right, thank you.
I'll just jump in because I had a similar kind of thought. Yes, I mean, great, really great pitch. I love the storytelling, and I think that comes through in the brand for consumers. Yeah, that quote in the deck, the greatest thing to happen to leftovers since my grave. I wrote that down because I felt like that kind of encapsulates the offering really well. You touched on this a little bit, but I'm curious how you think about partnerships sort of showcasing the different ways that the product can be used. And then maybe also, how you think about kind of product development, new flavors, how you kind of get consumer feedback to kind of put back into that development cycle.
Yeah, I think for us, how we got this point was truly staying close to our customer. A lot of our products have been born out of that interaction with the farmers market, right? I'm in Minnesota, people think ketchup is spicy here, right? So when we came out with our first products, they're like, this is hot. And we're like, no, it's not. It's not hot at all. So we had to do 2 SKUs, right? We had our original, which was a more mild, and then our hot, which is our normal chutney,
Totally.
That's how we started. And then at our farmers market, our following, it continued to grow, and it was a lot of vegan customers. So we thought, you know what, let's make a vegan aioli. This is really cool. There's nothing like this, at the time in our market, or around. I think there was just veganese, and we were adding sriracha and trying to do different things to it. And then our mango chutney, that was more feedback from Croker and the Murray's cheese team of just wanting a sweeter offering. And that one, a different style, our family did not grow up with that, but we played around with it for probably about 6 months to a year, and brought that to market in August of last year and launched that across the Murray's cheese program. And that has done really well. I think a lot of people are really loving adding that not just on a charcuterie board, but on fish, on chicken, even ice cream, which is incredible. Yeah, totally. Put this on your ice cream. On partnerships, your question was partnerships and how it is regarding in introducing more use cases and for us, again, it's like leaning into the strengths of the retailer. Like with our Costco rotation, you have to invest in demos, right?
Right.
But he's obsessed with that Costco rotisserie chicken. And we're like, how many steps away is that chicken from where our product is? And like, how can we build this in to, how we launch with you? So we're looking at creative ways like that. There's, we have lists of different influencers, like Costco does it again, Target does it again, trying to work with different groups like that to like amplify who we are and what we're trying to do as we launch in these different retailers. I feel like I answered your last question and your first question, and you might have had a middle question that I missed.
No, that was super helpful. I think you cover all of it. Thank you.
Can jump in. Yasameen, great presentation. Thank you. I'm curious, so you have kind of two product lines. I know this is like very far out and you don't need to be thinking about product roadmap, but like where do you see the brand in 5-10 years from now? And kind of how do you want to be thought of? Would love to hear just more about that.
Yeah. I think the ultimate vision for us is to be represented in not just a one store aisle, right? One aisle of the store. Sorry, I'm a little sick, so I'm a little like on cough medicine. But I think for us, like there's a lot of opportunity to bring fresh, authentic flavors in the perimeter of the store. I think there's a lot of opportunity in frozen. There's a lot of opportunity like across different categories in the center store aisle too, where I feel like the global food section of what it looks like today is a lot of rice, a lot of different simmer sauces, different bean packages. I think those are all areas that we could play in. I think why we started in refrigerated is because there's room for a lot of innovation there. And I think for where we're meeting our customer, we're solving a lot of problems for them. Later on, how we think about innovation and how we think about product expansion would be like, where do we have like not just the opportunity to gain in market, but like what is the consumer looking for? Like what can we make better? And that's why we're like taking on this hummus case. We're like, hey, hummus has changed people's lives the last decade, totally. But also like, what the hell is dessert hummus? And like, why is that innovation? Like, can we, bring something and celebrate part of our culture here? For us, like, I buy hummus on the weekly, even if it's crappy. And we started talking to other people, and they're like, yeah, hummus is really bad now. Like, what is Sabra doing, or what is some of these like private label retailers doing, like, to this thing that we are already going to spend like $6.99, $5.99 every week to buy. So I think for us, we're like, oh, yeah, everyone else is feeling this. We could do something here. I think we look at like brands like Siete or Maya Kumal and think about like their journeys of how they were able to really connect their culture through the different aisles of the store, and they didn't just like chase like I think Siete had like a great interview where they said one of their investors that they said no to was like go all in on tortillas. And they're like, no, we want to do all these other things, and how much value they've brought to the chip aisle, to hot sauce, to everything else that they're doing. Like, I think to me, that's like why they wake up every day. They didn't wake up just to make tortillas, right? And that's the same for us, is we love sharing our chutneys with people, and we love sharing like our culture and what chutney actually is. But I think we have a bigger opportunity to stand for something bigger and be yeah, a little more meaningful and intentional with what we're bringing to market.
Thank you so much, Yasameen. I think that's about time for questions, and we're going to move on to the next pitch. There's also a question in the chat from Raj, if you want to address that when you have a chance, Yasameen. I'm also feeling a bit under the weather too, so I don't know, something's going around, I guess. But thank you so much for a lovely pitch, and I need to go grab myself some of these chutneys as well. Tarik and Ranya, you guys are up next, so I will pin your video and feel free to share your screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I'm going to present. I'm not sure if you guys see the screen, or should we, 1 second, share screen. Da, da. Do you guys see this?
Yes.
By any chance? 1 sec. Present full screen. Well, present or view, present full screen, present.
There we go.
Do you guys see that?
It's taking a second to load. It's kind of, at least for me, it's like half, covering half the screen.
Your screen sharing is paused. Okay. Zoom share. Resume share.
We're having technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. How about we do this? We don't have a formal pitch. We just started the company. We're really blessed to be here. Hani, thank you so much for inviting us. I'd love to welcome a conversation. We can introduce ourselves, tell you guys a little bit more about Sibz. We apologize in advance that we couldn't send you guys any samples. We actually completely sold out of our initial run. We just brought in some samples, actually, which we will show you here. So guys, I'm Tarik. This is Ranya. We are the founders of Sibz. We're also brother and sister duo.
Which stands for siblings, Sibz.
Yeah.
That's how we got the name.
Kind of the cutesy name there. Sibz is short for siblings. We started this, eight months ago. It's been a wild journey. We out of nowhere planned to build this brand very locally, and that was the aim. We started doing like little pop-ups. We wanted to get customer validation. We wanted to see if we actually had a product that people wanted. Lo and behold, our first meeting with a retailer was actually Sprouts, and we did it as an exercise. We said, we had no expectations, but we were very successful in that meeting. We were very surprised, and Sprouts became our first customer. So actually, we just had a shipment sent over. It was on a boat for a couple weeks, and that whole first shipment is going to all 400 Sprouts locations, which we're really blessed about. And it kind of made us, circle back and repivot and say, okay, this is no longer a local brand. Now we're going national. And so we've done all that we can in order to prepare for that. And we're really, really blessed. We have some incredible people on our side that are supporting us on that journey. And we're just building it one day at a time. The product is very different from its competitors. We are doing a date-based bite. Our products only have 4 to 5 ingredients in them. They're non-GMO certified. So the date base, we have a raw cacao and coconut flavor here. We have an espresso and nut. I don't know if you guys see that with the.
Maybe we should take off the background. Maybe. We tried to have a cute background, but maybe we should take it off.
Okay, I can do that as well. We have a pistachio and raw cacao, and we have a goji berry and chia. As mentioned, all of them only have 3 to 4 ingredients in them, which we believe customers are really demanding right now. They want to know what's in their food. They don't want any fillers or preservatives. And we are 100% clean and 100% committed to clean label. And where that really came from was both Ranya and I are very health conscious. Ranya is a certified nutritionist. We work out together, we eat together, and we've become the label inspectors when we're in the grocery store. We're constantly looking at labels, kind of asking questions like, why would they add these oils? Why would they add these fillers? And we don't see any reason for doing that. And so that's why we created Sibz. And, we're very proud to, give these to our friends and family. These are things that we eat on an everyday basis. And we're proud of it. We're slowly building our social media following. We brought some incredible people again on board to support us. One of which helped build the Nick's ice cream brand. We also have some support internally at TikTok. We're going to be launching a TikTok shop as well. We believe that this product is perfect for online, and that's where we're going to be doubling down. We're going to be using, our big win at Sprouts to really focus on our online store, and as well as sales through our social media channels, and then taking it one step at a time there. Do you want to add anything, right?
No, I mean, we're honestly, we're really excited to just start the D2C. We haven't officially launched yet. We have been doing a lot of local events around Los Angeles. So our official launch date will be April 1st. We are doing, in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will be doing some pre-orders on our website. But our official launch date is April 1st. So we're really excited about that. I was just overseas at our manufacturing facility, and, we're, starting with 4 flavors right now, as Tarik mentioned, the flavors, and we will be expanding later on. We do want to kind of test the market a little bit. Everybody seems to gravitate towards one flavor more than the other. Our most popular is the raw cacao and coconut. We've been kind of testing out the local market for the past 8 months and kind of seeing, what ingredients people like. We had some other ingredients in them, and then we just kind of reformulated based on trial and error between, doing all of our events. In terms of marketing,
Speaking of events, you were just on the events.
In terms of marketing our product, we're kind of doing things in a unconventional way. As much as I love the health and wellness space, I'm a certified nutritionist. We didn't want to get lost in the space by going the traditional health and wellness route with, let's say,
Health food
bloggers, making smoothies. So Tarik and I decided to go in a completely different direction and do the comedy route, because we wanted people to have just this fun, exciting feeling when they think of our brand. So what we started doing was we started comedy events. So we collaborated with a bunch of local comedians. We had our first event in August, and it was such a huge success, and people loved the fact that we were kind of doing a better for you product, but making it fun and relatable to people, rather than, just being on a shelf and, oh, it's just a health and wellness better for you product. And there was no kind of personality behind the brand.
And I think that that's a really important, again, as Ranya mentioned, we want that feeling of love and joy and laughter, and we feel like that's what people want today. And so we did this non-traditional thing. We actually did it with who's our coffee partner?
We collaborated with Groundwork Coffee.
In
Venice.
Yeah, in Venice. It was a huge success. It was a sold out show. We looked at it like this. usually what you would see in stand-up comedy is, the name of the venue right behind the stand-up comics. And we said, well, why isn't Sibz standing behind the comics? And so we did that. It was very non-traditional. We had a lot of jokes from the comics about Sibz and the product itself, which was really great and great for branding, great for marketing, great to get people talking about the product. And so we're doubling down on that. And the joy that Sibz brings you. Ranya and I started doing these like sibling rivalry pieces of content online as well. So we're going to be doubling down on that, really to market the product and to create the relatability, for our consumers and our customers. So it's all a big test right now. We're having a lot of fun. I do come from a CPG background, somewhat. I launched a CPG product prior to this during COVID. Definitely some scars there, definitely some learnings. I launched a line called Zoos. It was a CPG product. I partnered with Beyond Meat as a very scrappy, tiny little non-VC backed startup. I managed to get to the top of the chain at Beyond, sold them on my vision for globally inspired, ready-made frozen meals. I saw a segment in the category which wasn't being filled at Zoos, which was, everything in plant-based meat was hot dogs, chicken nuggets, very American-style foods. And I wanted to do something that was more globally inspired. And so we had a line. We had an Italian line, we had an Asian line, we were launching a Mediterranean line. So we had a line of pizzas, we had a line of spring rolls and pot stickers, and it was all made with Beyond Meat. Again, I signed a co-branding agreement with them as a scrappy little startup, which meant that I was able to have Beyond on all of our packaging. I did the same thing with VioLife. VioLife had actually never done a co-branding agreement. So again, as this scrappy little startup, I actually had to help them write a co-branding agreement. They had never done one before, and this was a company that got bought for $500 million. We were successful. We ended up in 350 stores, but eventually we sunsetted the company. Doing frozen was an absolute nightmare. I would never do frozen again. I wouldn't suggest anybody do frozen unless you have 100 million in the bank. It was definitely a challenge for sure. So I'm really proud that we're now doing Sibz, which is shelf stable. You could put it anywhere in the grocery store. You could put it by the checkout counter. You could put it at an end cap. And our distribution is so much wider. And so we're very fortunate. We have an incredible broker who's going to be opening up the floodgates to other retailers. But before really taking that massive step, we really want to double down on our e-commerce and our direct to consumer, and really just keep it going with Sprouts. Maybe focus on Erewhon, some local retailers before thinking about going to national chains, because we want to be very mindful of our cash flow and our positioning. So yeah, I think that's it.
Sorry, we didn't go through the deck.
Yeah, we didn't go through the deck. I think we outlined a lot of what we wanted to say, but let's open this up for conversation. Would love to hear from you guys. And again, apologies we didn't send you samples, but we're more than happy to now so that you guys can taste the product.
And I will say one other thing as well. One thing that we were initially focusing on, other than our events, were the farmers markets. But the one thing that we figured out in Los Angeles is the wait list to get into any farmers market, because they are so popular, is insane. There's like a 3 to 4 year wait list. So I'm now currently planning our own farmers market in collaboration with Groundwork Coffee, because I think we're just the type of people where if someone says, "Oh, well, you have to wait this long," we're like, "Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll do it ourselves."
And so we're doing that, and we're going to be doing it with other
family run
minority owned businesses. We'll be hosting that in Venice, hopefully sometime in April. We'll be doing like an all-day farmers market. When we say farmers market, it's without the fresh produce. It would be CPG companies that we would highlight, and we would love to invite all the incredible brands that are on this call to that market. But yeah, that's another way of us marketing the product, getting in front of customers, and really just kind of grabbing the bull by the horns. And when somebody says no, we just do it ourselves.
Just figure it out.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll open it up.
Thank you both so much. I wanted to say I love the design of the packaging, and the branding in general is really great. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask about, since you have quite a unique customer acquisition strategy for the product type, would love to hear a little more about specifically what the target demographic is, assuming maybe Gen Z, but are they female, are they urban, and how did you sort of determine that?
That's a really good question. And I won't jump the gun and tell you that we've identified our customer as of yet. We're just kind of coming out of, I don't want to call it stealth, but really testing out the market. We're still identifying that customer. I think it's really important. A friend of ours, who, is very close to the brand, was ahead of growth at RX Bar, also moved over to Factor. And that was a conversation that I had with him recently, is really doubling down and finding the niche consumer. And that comes with trial and error. For RX Bar, it took them a minute to really find it. And then when they found it, they doubled down on it, which was the CrossFit community. And, timing was everything for them. And I think for us, it's going to be really a trial and error, putting it out there and putting it in consumers' hands, doing more taste testing, and then really identifying the consumer. Because, and again, I believe we really want to find that, because, being all things to everybody is not going to work.
No, it's never going to work.
And so we really want to niche down. But the fact is, children love our products, adults love our products. So
grandparents love our products.
Grandparents love our products. They're really tasty. They're really clean. People feel really good, when they eat them, because they know it's guilt-free. There's no refined sugars. The sugar's coming from the date. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't directly answer your question because we're still in identifying mode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just echo, yeah, love the brand. Hope to try the products. This would be right up my alley, so hope to try the products one day. I am curious how you think about kind of different use cases, and I know you just talked about maybe customer personas, but are people eating this as a pre-workout snack? Are they eating it on the go? Is it a breakfast? Is it a late night dessert? Just curious how you think about use case and occasion.
So we want to be mindful that we don't want to get stuck in the energy sector or the protein sector. And that's why we don't really highlight those things. We don't really want to be a gym product. I think that space is very, very noisy. There's a lot of competition in that space. So I don't think we would be going after a gym consumer. The way that we've personally been consuming these is really after meal. If you want something sweet, you don't want you don't want to open up your ice cream or have a slice of cake. These are really great on the go for after meal, after lunch, after dinner. I think we'd really want to double down on that. And then we also are going to be expanding the line. We do have these bags. Again, we're not going to jump too quickly, but we do have a 2-pack that we've already developed, where each ball is actually almost double the size of the balls that you would get in this bag. So that could be a perfect on-the-go dessert item that would be in competition to a bar.
It's one of those things too. It's, at least for me, when I'm, in the middle of the day, sometimes I need a little bit of a pick-me-up, and normally I would just have a date. That's something, I grew up with. A lot of Middle Easterns grew up with. It's we always had dates in our house at anytime during the day or after a meal, we would just have something a little bit sweet. And I've noticed I've kind of pivoted from eating dates to eating the date bites, just because it has a little bit more flavor, or, again, we all kind of gravitate towards towards one flavor. So yeah, it is like a little pick me up, or right after a meal, I'm like, oh, I just need something sweet and I don't want to eat a whole piece of cake, because I would normally, but I can just eat a couple of date bites and I'll be completely satisfied.
Yeah, speaking of dates, I saw on your website, I think the product is labeled like date bites, and then on the deck that we got, it's labeled energy bites. I understand you're still iterating through that. That is fine. I'm curious though, like around positioning that ingredient, seems like it's the main ingredient of your product. Like how are you finding consumers awareness of dates and their I guess their proclivity to be interested in that as like the key ingredient or not? Maybe, how are you kind of dealing with that hierarchy of positioning that ingredient?
100%. And actually, we live in California. Some of the best dates in the world are actually grown in Coachella Valley, like only a couple hours from here. Dates are becoming increasingly popular. Huge trends happening now on TikTok where people are using dates as a sugar substitute in their blended beverages, or cutting them up and putting them into salads. And so I think the consumer is becoming, very aware of dates and their nutritional value, as well as it being an all natural sugar substitute. And so we believe that the consumer is getting much more educated on dates and their benefits, and really being the OG snack, as we say. These date back throughout history as really being the sugar fix. And so that's where we want to double down. And we understand that in certain markets that will come with some education. And so we're going to be doing that with our
Through socials.
with our content and our social media. But that's a great question. But that's going back to that, and that's why it's very important for us, if we really focus on one state right now. And even though, Sprouts came out of nowhere and we're going to be launching nationally, if we were to focus in one place and really knock it out of the park, it would be California, where the education curve is not as extreme. People are very familiar with dates here, at least on the West Coast, on the West Side, I should say, and then organically starting to grow from there.
Nowhere close on time. I'll just have a comment. Really loved the pitch, and I think the like comedy element is really fun. I'm just thinking about like ways to like build brand and like surprise and I guess delight consumers. So I love that idea. I love the idea of putting together kind of your own farmers market, and just sort of being the brand that people see like supporting things. I think that always kind of drives awareness, and so thought that was really cool. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome.
Will you be at Expo next week?
We will. We are collaborating. We're collaborating with Groundwork Coffee this year because, again, we've built such a great relationship with them. And one thing that a lot of people are enjoying is like coffee and date, like after their meal or midday coffee and dates. So we actually are collaborating with them. So we will be there.
Ooh, awesome. Put your info in the chat. I want to try a coffee and date.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If there's like an email thread or something like that, we'll find out exactly where the booth is going to be, and we'll touch base. But yeah, it's a great collaboration. Groundwork is awesome. They're an organic coffee. Yeah, they're in retailers nationally. They're a great brand to partner with. We're really happy to be partners with them.
Cool. Yeah, I can link you guys up as well after this. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tara and Ranya. Great to hear from you guys. Yassin, we're going to turn it over to you to take us home as the final pitch. I'll pin your video now, and you can dive in.
Sure, sounds good. Let's see. Can everybody see my screen here?
Yes.
All right, nice to meet you, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to let me tell you a little bit about Afia. Today we have established ourselves as the #1 frozen Middle Eastern brand in the freezer aisle, mainstream American retailers. But our vision is to cross the aisles and allow the consumers, whenever they think they want to eat Mediterranean or Eastern Mediterranean, they think of Afia. When we first started, I mean, looking at the landscape of the US market, we always see the demand. I mean, Kava, Zoe's Kitchen, they're popping up restaurants every other location. And we did not see, I mean, we saw all that demand, but we have not seen any of that translate into the grocery stores. So, and, you know, the US news 7 years in a row declared the Middle Eastern diet as, or the Mediterranean diet as the most #1 diet for 7 years. I mean, we realized that we need to do something about it. And when we looked at what does the frozen US market look like, sorry, you can see like there's a large market cap size. We even looked at the other sides of what does the global ethnic market look like. We looked at what the Mediterranean overall in the restaurant side, and in frozen ethnic cuisines, whether it's Asian or Indian, we could really tell that there was a large spectrum of categories that we could play in and opportunities for Afia to excel and capture market share. So when we looked at specifically the frozen aisle, we really saw a clear gap in that space where you could see, the Asian, the Indian, and there are multiple brands across those cuisines, but there was really nothing Middle Eastern, Mediterranean in that aisle. So we figured, hey, it might as well be us. And that was really the start of Afia. And the focus of Afia today is to continue to excel in that frozen category and bring Eastern Mediterranean cuisine to the market. So when we looked at sorry, the screen's moving. Okay. So when we looked at the demand and who else is playing in that market, again, there was really nobody doing Middle Eastern, and that was the introduction of Afia. We started off with our appetizers, the falafels, and we've been in the market right now, I would say, for about 5 years, and just pulling some data from how the apps were doing and how Afia is doing, we already see a good trend, good acceptance in the market for that category. And we're hoping to continue that success into the frozen meals subcategory of that market. But overall, we're really trying to create that whole overall and capture that Mediterranean and create the consumer's basket for Middle Eastern food by offering, the great tasting, authentic food, clean ingredients, and of course the convenience of of the frozen. Overall, we believe that Afia today, at least with the falafel, have brought in falafel to mainstream America the way Sabra had done for hummus. It became a staple. Our goal is to really allow consumers to be familiar and accepting falafel into their everyday cuisine and become part of their staple food items. And of course, the opportunity is so big across all these market segments that we looked at, that if we just capture a fraction of any one of them, and of course grow outside of frozen into other aisles, probably there's a $1 billion opportunity. But going back to who we are and the story of Afia, it all started with my wife. She is from a Syrian origin, so am I. When she moved here to the United States, and she volunteered a lot of her time with refugees, she wanted to do more. And along that, about the same time, my mother had to fled the war in Syria, and she had like almost hours to pack her life in a bag, so to speak, before they closed the border. And one of the things that she brought with her, this black recipe book that she had inherited from her mom's mom, and it had this amazing recipes. So when she came and she lives with us, and she presented this, She would take out the food, the book, and cook these amazing foods. My wife wanted to do more, and it kind of almost like a jigsaw puzzle pieces came together between my mom's recipe, my wife, working with refugees, wanted to do more than just offering her time, and also realizing that there was this gap in the grocery store where there wasn't really anything Middle Eastern. So when all this came together, she brought the idea to me, and we thought, hey, you know what? It might as well be us. So that was really the start of Afia as a journey. And by the way, Afia is an Arabic word for bon appetit or to your health. We say صحة وعافية when someone wants to eat. So my wife and I come from business background. We don't have any CPG experience, but we have corporate financial experience before. And together we decided, you know what, this is what we want to do. And we wanted to leverage this amazing recipe book with authentic meals that my mom brought with her. Our journey started really in 2018 in the farmers market. We used it as a focus group to really refine and get consumer feedback really quick to refine the product. When we and also to validate the idea that yes, people want Middle Eastern Mediterranean food in their freezer, and that message did resonate based on our sales with in the farmers market. From there, we grew into, we had the opportunity with HEB that took us on with 200 doors. From there on, we grew year over year into national expansion with Whole Foods, Publix, and others. And into 23 and 24, we moved into a 20,000 square foot facility and are introducing additional frozen meal lines. Of course, we have a lot of the sustainability and ingredients and doing good with all part of our thesis, but we also wanted strategically to be the manufacturers. So Afia today is the self-manufacturing for our own products. Strategically, we thought about it from a higher margins, allow us to have a quicker R&D process, and of course, be in control of our supply chain. We did research, the co-packer path, and we decided to really offer a high quality product and maintain that. You really need to own it. And that's the journey we decided to take. One of the pillars of our mission in Afia is to really continue to support refugees. So our first employee was a refugee, and he's actually still with us today. But we also do donate quite a bit of food. We work with food banks. We also sponsored the full tuition of a refugee's college education this year, which we were proud of. Again, there was some recognition, mostly earned media. We can have this on the deck, and people can, browse the links and kind of read those on their time. To move into who's Afia and what are our products, we really try to target the mainstream American consumer and introduce them into the Eastern Mediterranean cuisine. We did that through our authentic meals, our commitment to the clean ingredients and traditional flavors from back home. And what is the best way to travel is but to experience authentic foods from those regions. So that was our main focus. We started with modernizing falafel as our first product line. And of course, it came, it's naturally gluten-free, it's healthy, it's what do you call it? High protein center meal item. So that was our initial launch. And then from there, we have expanded into the meals products. We have introduced 4 meals in 2023. They are all based on ethnic recipes from different countries in the region. We have items like, for example, roasted red pepper and onion and tomato, which really is a burghul bandora originally, and it's a Lebanese/Turkish meal. So are a few of the others that are, named and formatted for the American consumer today, but their origins are in Middle Eastern meals like mjadara, which is a crispy onion and lentil, and so on. And of course, we introduced kibbe to the market. Today, we only have exclusivity in Texas for it because of the um, time and amount of effort it would take to market it and educate people to it. So it's slower for us to push it out nationally, but it have gained quite a bit of ground in Texas, and a lot of people know kibbe now down here. And of course, to expand on and expand and outside of frozen and kind of see where the consumers are and create more brand awareness, we are introducing in a couple months 7 SKUs of spice line that we're starting with as a DTC and see how that goes before we take it out to brick and mortar. Today, Afia have multiple channels. We are in the natural and the conventional markets. We are in mass and club. We also just recently opened a food service channel where we service restaurants, cruises, and other food service venues. We're launching our DTC with the spices, but we also, since we are the manufacturer, we have been approached to do quite a bit of private label and co-packing jobs for other businesses. Again, this is a picture of our current distribution today nationwide. I mean, we are pretty much have good coverage in the US with our both our product lines, the falafel and the meals. We did some exclusive deals with Target. We're launching 4 meals in their own specific format. We're also launching with the Costco, rotations with some of our products. Here is just a snapshot of the format of our food service that we have rolled out. In terms of performance and what we've done, Afia have been around now for about 5 years. Within those 5 years, we have really grown distribution from 200 doors HEB to about 4,000 doors today, or I would say 13,000 PODs as of date.
Yassin, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Do you think we could close in like the next minute or so?
Sure. Yeah, I'm at the end of the slides anyway.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, with all of the exposure and the 4,000 doors, we have barely scratched the surface of the penetration into the market segments that we've identified. So this kind of gives you a snapshot of we're only 8%, 7% of the natural and conventional channels. We heavily rely on marketing, different tools, different things that we work with. Again, we are the manufacturer. We have a lot of certification, capacity, people that we, key people that are running the team today. And we are looking for additional investment today to put more emphasis and push to the next level of brand awareness. Also to supplement our cash flow with building up higher inventory now that we have multiple lines, multiple packaging styles for the Costco's and the Targets of the world. That's pretty much it. I'm sorry if I took a little bit longer. I tried to run through it fast. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Yassin.
Sure.
All right. I'll turn it to the investors for any questions.
Thank you so much, Yassin. I'm personally so excited to try some of these. They look delicious. I'm curious in terms of the product portfolio as a whole. I know for frozen food, generally single-serve meals are one of the biggest categories. What do you see most of your sales come from today? Is it the falafel or some of the meal packs that you have?
Sure. So we started Afia with the falafels first. So it's been in the market for about 4 years now, and because of that level of distribution, it captures today about 75% of our revenue is from the falafel. But we only introduced the meals June of 2023. And what took me 3 years to get the distribution of falafel for, it literally took me 2 months with a few emails to existing retailers, proving to them, how Afia is performing in terms of velocity, capturing market share, that we were able to get pre-orders for about 1,500 doors, I think, at this point are signed up since we launched. I mean, and we're talking like big names like Wegmans, Publix, Whole Foods Global, HEB. They all have signed up for the meals today. And just within the last 6 months, the revenue just from the meals have contributed to about 25% of our revenue.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
And question for you about your operations and manufacturing. Can you talk about the decision to manufacture internally, and then what you think what kind of advantage that gives you over competition, if any, and I guess how you're able to manage that part of the business, which seems like it's a different set of skills and KPIs than the brand on its own.
Actually, it is. I mean, it's almost like running two startups at the same time. One is manufacturing and one is the brand. And when we first decided to do it, people called us crazy. They're like, you got to be joking me to take on such a task. But with COVID hitting, I mean, it was a blessing for us in hindsight because we were in control. We had 100% service level throughout the whole COVID supply chain problems that were happening everywhere. Not only that, we were actually became a co-packer for one of the large chicken nugget brands at the time to pad our cash flow and allowed us to fund the brand during that time. Today, I mean, I won't lie. I mean, it's very capital intensive. I just had to get very creative with funding a lot of the equipment and the facility. We have just moved 6 months ago into a built-to-suit 20,000 square foot that we built from the ground. It was like dirt. We built it, and that have allowed us right now to scale our business with a fully automated production line. We literally can do a truckload a day worth of production with a handful of people. It's highly automated. It's a big investment initially, but as I put the ROI on that and look, beyond the first 3 years of repayments on all these equipment loans, the margins, the profit margins are extremely high. I mean, by any standard. And I look at it not just for higher margins and better cash flow to support the marketing efforts of the brand, because building a brand and the awareness is very extensive, capital intensive. I mean, the amount of money you need to spend on marketing is huge. And I don't want to continue raising money to do that. So the manufacturing side does allow me to do that. It allows me to open the food service channel. It also allows me to preempt the toxic habit of the retailers that whenever a product really works, they look at private label in it. And we already start to see that because within 3 years, our sales of falafel, I mean, it's no secret. You can pull the data and you will see our performance, have attracted some of the larger retailers to wanting to do their own private label falafel. And who else would they go to but us? Because we are the manufacturer. And to me, it's money in my left pocket versus my right pocket at this point. And we are in the process of actually, we signed a couple of deals with large retailers to doing their private label, but it also allowed me to have better leverage negotiating that I'll do your private label recipe as long as I secure my shelf with my branded as well. So it was a blessing on many levels. Once you get over that capital expense. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Hylton.
No, you're all good. I just had a quick follow-up on that. Going forward, how do you sort of make a decision between, how much you want to focus on the private label side and food service side versus sort of the branded product side? I think both are beneficial to you, but how do you make that decision to kind of, let's say for college or university, put the Afia brand there versus not?
So, I mean, it's really an easy decision on this because the brand is where the strategic goal is. It has the higher valuation. It has the um, all the things that kind of go with that. The food service is a very good cash flow business. It keeps the light on. As long as you score an account and you continue to serve them consistently all the time, you've got that account forever. So it's a good cash flow business. Um, I may or may not be able to do branded food service. That really depends on how big is the brand and how people want to associate with the brand. We do have that on a small scale right at this point, but again, it goes back to the brand is the priority. As the brand goes big, becomes bigger, the more people are willing to use that on their food service side as branded. But even if it's day one not branded, it's still okay because I use it as a cash flow tool rather than, it's a focus.
Got it. Thank you.
Amira, you had a question?
Yes, I'm curious on the product R&D front. I feel like it's all kind of within the same realm, but for the branded products, how you kind of think about what's driving kind of the R&D and the future product roadmap.
Well, the good news is we already have the next 5 years laid out in terms of product roadmap. So it's a very strategically thought out process where we are, where we want to be, and we're kind of walking backwards from that. But it's also heavily influenced by market data. We do a lot of market research. We do a lot of assessments of who are the players. I mean, even before we started with falafel, we went and bought every falafel out there, ethnic supermarkets, mainstream, understood the customer, understood the problem, and where we wanted to be positioned very consciously. And when we do our next R&D step, I mean, our main target is the American mainstream consumer who is globally aware, who wants to have those experiences. It's not necessarily, the person that shops at the ethnic supermarket, and it's not also the rural person who has never, heard of the Middle East or doesn't want to even try it. So there is that metropolitan consumer set that we are targeting. And when we introduce our products, for example, the falafel, we started out with the traditional falafel, which is still by far is the best seller. But we also try to fusion some of it with American palate items like our garlic and herb falafel garlic is a very American palate flavor. And that proved to be very successful. Same thing with our meals. I mean, I mentioned one of the meals was the crispy onion and lentils, which is really from back home, it's mjaddara, really. But we fusioned it. Same thing with, for example, sweet potato and kale. Back home, it's mendi. It's a Yemeni, Saudi main dish with that smoky rice flavor. But we fusioned it with things that tick with the American consumer, like the sweet potato, like the kale. And we learned to name things correctly based on American perception because they only have like that 1 second to scan by your aisle to capture their eyes. The other aspect of the R&D that we looked at, especially in the freezer, because it's a very difficult category, and there are so many players in even in the ethnic or the global cuisine. But before we started the meals, we literally went and bought almost every meal out there in that category. And for the most part, we found a consistent theme there. You might find some good meals, some bad meals, but overall, they all had this very large display box. But when you open it, you have this sad tray, plastic tray the meal is presented in. And not only that, half of it was a sauce. So the consumer is not stupid. Consumer feels cheated when that happens to them. And they might not come back to that brand again unless it's a good meal and they will have to settle with that. So what we did is we try to really be innovative and not only offer consumers good food, but we also formatted the product in this very nice, good looking recyclable, compostable paper bowl that allows the consumer to not only enjoy the food, but to have a good experience, a nice experience, a comfortable experience when they are eating the meal out of that bowl instead of a black plastic tray. So it was not just the food, it's the experience that we look for. And we do that in our R&D, whether it's the product or the presentation of the product.
All right, folks. I think that about wraps it up for us. Thank you so much to our investors. Thank you so much to our founders who pitched. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I'm just so excited about all four companies today. So looking forward to trying all of these foods at some point in the near future. As I said, I'm going to send a recording of this out to everyone who registered, put it up on YouTube as well. And if you're not already a member of the Viaka network, please check it out. We'd love to have you. And just also want to give one final thank you and shout out to Abe and Patrick and Taft Law for generously supporting this event and others from the Viaka network. So great job, everyone. Thank you so much. And hope to see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henny. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Everyone.
Good one.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
guys so much. Thanks, Henny.
Thank you.